Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here with another extravagant few minutes live here on 12-Ounce Sports. And, of course, the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page. And we also invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is 12-Ounce Sports. You can get all of our great programming live and archived on 12-Ounce Sports right there on our YouTube channel. All right, welcome to the weekend, May the 10th of 2024. Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs both saw overtime games last night. How about the Florida Panthers in the NHL? They were down 2-0 and 3-1 in that game yesterday. Looked like it was going to be Toronto going out to a 3-0 commanding lead, but the Florida Panthers, the defending Stanley Cup champions, they said, not so fast, my friend. They were able to claw back a couple of deflections. I think there was like 3 or 4 deflections in that game off of bodies into the net. And Brad Marchand, the man who has never lost to Toronto in a Stanley Cup playoff series, he got the game winner to make it 5-4 in overtime. So the Florida Panthers get a much-needed must-win game in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup playoffs in the conference semifinals. So they're now trailing the Toronto Maple Leafs 2-1. They'll play Game 4 tomorrow night. That should be a dandy. Elsewhere last night in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, it was the Winnipeg Jets. They evened the series at home. That was a must-win for them, too, because they lost the opener at home to Dallas. They were able to win last night 4-0. Connor Hellebuyck, a 21-save shutout for the Jets. That series tied up at 1. They go back now to Dallas for a couple of games. That will be tomorrow for Game 3. Tonight, a couple of big games in the Stanley Cup playoffs. How about Edmonton taking 2 games on the road in Vegas? They've got a commanding 2-0 lead. This is a must-win for the Vegas Golden Knights as they go to Edmonton in Game 3 of that semifinal out west. And also out east, it's going to be Game 3 in Carolina as the Capitals and the Hurricane all tied up at 1. That's going to be a great matchup. These Stanley Cup playoffs have been phenomenal. This is going to be another one, a great one here this afternoon, or today rather, in the Stanley Cup playoffs. In the NBA last night, it was the Denver Nuggets taking a 2-1 lead over the Oklahoma City Thunder, the top seed in the West, 113-104 in overtime. Denver with the big win now. They're up 2-1 in that series. And Cleveland, after dropping 2 straight at home, a lot of folks thinking maybe they're dead in the water. Well, they went to Indianapolis last night, took on the Pacers, and they blew out Indiana in Indiana, 125-104. So that series now still 2-1 in favor of Indiana. Cleveland with a little bit of life, maybe putting a little bit of a seed of doubt in Indiana going into Game 4 in Indianapolis coming up this weekend. So today, 2 big games. The New York Knicks, they went to Boston and took 2 games in Boston on this one with Game 3 this afternoon at 3:30 at the Garden. New York looking to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They've got a big lead, 2-0. A lot of folks are still saying Boston's going to win this series with their road record. We'll see. They've got to win 4 out of the next 5 to do that. And in the other series, it's going to be Minnesota and Golden State tonight. Those teams both tied up at 1. Quick look at Major League Baseball, the standings. But first, it is Tarik Skubal and the Tigers, the best team in the major leagues. They've got the best record along with the Los Angeles Dodgers. But the Tigers have the best pitcher in all of baseball. I don't care what anybody says. Skubal last night, 7 innings, 12 strikeouts. The Tigers win their 6th straight. They've got a record of 26-13. Skubal in his last 6 starts, 50 strikeouts and 1 walk. If he's not the most dominant pitcher in Major League Baseball right now, I don't know who is. I know it's early, but the Tigers now 26-13. Arguably, with the National League West, the best division in all of baseball. If you take a look at the standings, the Cleveland Guardians are 2.5 games back, along with the Kansas City Royals. Every team in the division last night won. Check these winning streaks out in the American League Central. Detroit with a 5-game winning streak. I thought it was 6. I apologize about that. The Guardians with a 3-game winning streak. The Kansas City Royals with a 7-game winning streak. And the Minnesota Twins, they've won 6 straight. And even the Chicago White Sox won a game last night. So a banner night for the American League Central as all teams won. and you've got 4 teams with at least a 3-game winning streak in that division. So the Tigers leading that division with a record of 26-13. The Yankees on top of the East at 22-16. The Mariners, they're on top of the American League West with a record of 22-15. In the East, the Mets with a 2.5-game lead over the Phillies with a 25-14 record. The Chicago Cubs with a 2-game lead over the Cardinals at 22-17. And in the West, in the National League, the Dodgers at 26-13. They've got a 1-game lead over the Padres, who are at 24-13, and 2-game lead over the San Francisco Giants. All right, we're going to take a look at today in sports history and some birthdays. But first, we'll take a look at this right here on an extravagant few minutes here on 12 Ounce Sports. Hi, everybody. Welcome back again to an extravagant few minutes live here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page and 12 Ounce Sports, also our 12 Ounce Sports YouTube channel. All right, let's take a look, an extravagant look at today in sports history. In 1973, the New York Knicks clinched their last NBA World Championship by beating the Los Angeles Lakers in 5 games, 4-1. Also in 1973, the Montreal Canadiens, they beat the Chicago Blackhawks 4-2 with a 6-4 win in the clincher at Chicago Stadium. Speaking of Montreal, in 1981, the Spaceman, Charlie Lee, he got a no-hitter as the Expos beat the San Francisco Giants by the score of 4-0. And in 2022, Tom Brady signed a 10-year, $375 million contract to be the lead analyst for Fox Sports. He previously made $303 million throughout his whole 20-plus year playing career. 1970, Hoyt Wilhelm pitched in his 1,000th game. He lost that game, but still, that's a mind-boggling stat. 1970, his 1,000th game. And in 1967, Hank Aaron hit his only inside-the-park home run in his career in a game against, it was off Jim Bunning and the Philadelphia Phillies. Birthdays today in sports. How about Jim Calhoun, the famous coach of the Yukon Huskies? He turned 83 today. Chris Berman, longtime sports anchor of Sports Center and ESPN. He turned 70. And Ronnie Cycli, the old center for the Miami Heat and the Syracuse Orange, he turned 60. All right, that's going to do it for an extravagant few minutes and an extravagant look at sports history right here on 12 Ounce Sports. We invite you to have a great, great Saturday. Thanks for joining us, welcoming us into your homes, on your computers and your television screens, iPhones, however you watch us around the world on the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page and 12 Ounce Sports. Have a great day, everybody. Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your mind.